Road 13, Department of Human Settlements.
I now call upon the MEC for Human Settlement, Honorable S.K. Mashilu, to deliver the policy and budget speech.
Ngiyabonga Somlomo. Thank you, Speaker, Honorable Masilela, the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Mufokeng, our Premier in absentia, members of our Executive Council, my colleague, members of this House Provincial Legislature, honorable members, the Chief Whip of the Majority Party, Honorable Mlombo, Chairperson of the Provincial House of Traditional Leaders, Nkosi Mukwena, and all our traditional leaders in our midst, executive mayors, leadership of Salga, Director General Ntate Mampuru, Acting Head of Human Settlement, Mayor Hazel Zita, heads of department and all our entities in our midst, the leadership of the ANC and the Alliance amongst us today, representative of the political parties in this House, business and public sector representative, Ms. Mpumalanga Kamuso Machika, thank you very much for honoring our invitation. It is always good to see a beautiful lady of yourself. Distinguished guests, media, members of the media, friends, comrades, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Madam Speaker and members, we meet again at this august House at the threshold of the 6th Provincial Administration. Having been tasked with pushing the frontiers of poverty, this has been the mandate of our democratic government since its inception in 1994. Eradication of extreme poverty by 2030 is amongst the targets of the Sustainable Development Goal, the SDG number 1 of no poverty. Other targets to be prioritized include equal rights to ownership, basic services, technology, and economic resources. Build resilience to environmental, economic, and social disaster, and create a pro-poor and a gender-sensitive policy framework. Madam Speaker, SDG 6 on clean water and sanitation states that we must ensure the availability and sustainability management of water and sanitation for all. The Department's 2023-24 policy and budget speech I am presenting today is premised under the theme, Leaving No One Behind, which paves a new way of looking into the work we are doing. We have provided adequate shelter for our deserving community throughout the color line thus far. In the process, those who used to afford their own houses lost their jobs and equipped for government-built houses. This then says we have to distribute our budget to cater for the challenges behind us and those before us. Providing integrated human settlement is not only a forward-looking process, but it involves a lot of back-looking and correcting the situation. All these challenges we are facing today were caused by the unequal distribution of the resources by the apartheid government, which include the inaccessibility of land for the majority of our people who are black in the main. As we speak, we do have a number of people who stay in the areas that are mountainous, and they must be addressed as well. This June month, we need to be implementing programs that will accelerate our youth economic emancipation for sustainable future. Because on the 3rd June 1995, at the dedication of Qunu and Nkalani schools, our former president, Ntate Nelson Mandela, once said, open quote, "Our children are the rock on which our future will be built, our greatest asset as a nation. They will be the leader of our country, the creators of our national wealth, those who care for and protect our people," close quote. It is from this direction, by our departed leaders, that we remain courageous and say to ourselves, amidst the challenges we are facing, we will reflect, outline, and present achievement, interventions to challenges, and strategize towards the improvement of our people's life, not leaving anyone behind. Madam Speaker, a total of 2,887 subsidies houses, the so-called RDP houses, were planned for the delivery across the province, and 1,798 housing units were delivered, thus translating to an overall 62% achievement. We're disrupted by a number of challenges that include Business Forum, who continuously stop the project, and some poor contractors who are also not able to perform as expected. We have since reduced their scope of work, and then some we did make some termination because we came to one conclusion that they're unable to perform. It is quite regrettable. In the spirit of not leaving anyone behind, we committed to the eradication of mud houses across the province, a pronounced sectoral priority. A total of 91 mud houses, mainly in the villages within the Mukondo local municipality, namely Swepe, Emlazi, Dipan, Amsterdam, Kaketa, Kangema, and New Plus, were identified as unsafe and uninhabitable area to stay. At the end of the financial year, 138 mud houses were eradicated and residents provided with government-subsidized houses. That is a quite achievement to the people who are living in the farm areas. At times, they believe that we only remember them when elections come. As Department of Human Settlement, we remember them long before elections might come. Worse off are those communities living near to the coal mine pits. Continuous blasting has rendered the weak and structures hazardous. We received a number of complaints from Emalahleni about this particular matter. We have since engaged as well Department of Mineral and Resource so that we can get our mine to come closer in assisting this particular challenge that we face. Department has initiated talks with various mine companies, in particular the CEOs, with aim of relocating these communities to safer and more conducive areas. I'm quite pleased to say, Honorable Speaker, that indeed our mine CEOs agreed to assist Department of Human Settlement. That's create us to work in partnership with the private sector. To the benefits of our communities, the Minister announced the enhancement of the future low-cost houses by considering the installation of solar panels and butler proofs for the elderly and those living with a disability. It was clear that majority of our disabled and senior people got attacked all the time in the RDP houses because they are not safe. Certainly, we shall put the butler proof and the butler door, butler windows to ensure their safety. With the policy shift focusing more on the rapid release of land, we have successfully launched two massive integrated human settlement projects at Silobela Extension 5 and Tubelihle Extension 7, and that's the Silobela is in Chief Albert Lutuli, and Tubelihle is in Emalahleni local municipalities, respectively. Upon completion, these two mega developments will yield a combined 20,000 service sites with all the required socio-economic amenities such as schools, primary health care facilities, business sites, recreational facilities, amongst others. Madam Speaker, to date, the department has successfully delivered 6,857 service sites through the Integrated Human Settlement Grant and the Upgrading of Informal Settlement Grant. Specifically, we have provided 2,000 sites in Kamhlushwa Integrated Human Settlement in Nkomazi local municipality. Additionally, we have completed 400 sites in MLO Extension 44 located in Msugalekwa local municipalities. An additional 450 sites in Sekunda West Integrated Settlement in Govenembek. Majority of the projects aimed at upgrading informal settlement were concentrated in Emalahleni local municipalities where there is a high demand for housing and service sites. Consequently, over 4,500 sites have been completed in this local municipality. We have strived to improve the living standards of our communities. We have successfully completed the MLO Extension 32, 33, and 34 projects, addressing issues related to sewer spillages that has been a problem in that municipality. Madam Speaker, it is pleasing to report that the process of handing over these projects to the municipalities will be finalized before the end of this month, which is June 2023. We have realized that people from the taxi and retail industries are not fully participating in government housing schemes. Most of the time, these people are found on the road, Patutabandu, where these people bayobhalisa izindlu, Speaker. Bona babayisa lapho kodwa abatholi ithuba lokubhalisa lama taxi people. So as abasebenza kuma retail shops, abo macro basithengisela masibuya kothenga, sibuya kubhalisa izindlu, siya eShoprite siyothenga. They don't find time to come and register for these houses. Working with the taxi association and retail unions, Department will be embarking on a targeted awareness roadshows throughout the province of Mpumalanga, starting from the second quarter, sharing human settlement packages that will benefit everyone with this sector. Remember our motto, we must leave no one behind. Yabonga Mnumzana. Cheers. We believe that community residence units, which are better known as the CRUs, remain one of the packages from which the taxi and retail industries can fully benefit from it. We do have a grant for those who earn less than the required amount of 3,500. I must hasten and say to this end, 715 disputes between property owners and tenants were resolved. 7 social amenities and 52 community residential units were delivered across the province. We continue to provide houses for military veterans or military war veterans, and 20 houses will be built for the military veterans who have been approved. I must indicate, Honorable Speaker, one of our challenges, this program is done jointly between Human Settlement and the Defence Force. It is pleasing to mention that the department has acquired 2 portions of land in Draaikraal and Klepfontein in Tabachweu and Emalahleni local municipality respectively, just to mention the few. I must pause, Madam Speaker, and commend Amakosi for their continuous support. They have been working with the Department of Human Settlement to curb unlawful and illegal land invasion. The importance of the role of Amakosi as traditional leaders is entrenched in Chapter 12 of our Constitution, and therefore make them our partners in governance. We will appreciate the initiative by Amakos working through their respective municipalities where they can identify land for servicing of sites by human settlement in order to mitigate land invasion by the communities. In 2023, SOPA, our Honorable Premier, Mary Philo Moswenitsipan, raised her concern about the challenges which causes communities not to receive title deeds on time. She said, open quote, one of the challenges we face is that most houses requiring title deeds are in the rural areas. Unproclaimed township and in-state-owned land, which causes delay with the registration and issue of the title deeds, close quote. To mitigate this challenge, we will continue to engage with Amakosi on the township establishment in their areas so that communities can have title deeds as required by the law and the human rights. To date, we have registered title deeds of 2,745 beneficiaries, which are legally documents that can be used as an economic leverage for beneficiaries to improve their livelihoods. Administration. Madam Speaker, the post-establishment of our department indicates that there are currently 348 filled and 146 vacant positions, thus reflecting a 29% vacancy rate in the Department of Human Settlement. To remedy this situation, some funded positions have recently been advertised to be filled by the end of the second quarter, in line with the department's employment equity plan, as we move closer to gap between males and the female senior management level. Strategic focus for 2023-24 financial year. Madam Speaker, this is the 2019-2020 financial year to date. Department has managed to deliver a total of 36,415 housing opportunities. These levels of performance has been achieved despite the forever shrinking annual budget allocation and an increase in the cost of construction material. In this financial year of the MTSF, Department will be finalizing the township establishment and planning processes for 15 mega human settlement projects with combined yield of 54,854 sites. These initiatives will ensure a quick delivery of services sites and ultimately top structures and social amenities in close proximity to or within a declared priority development areas. The PDA include Rondebosch, KwaZamakuhle Extension 9, ML Extension 44, Grootvlei Extension 5, Secunda Extension 7, Leslie Extension 8, Silobela Extension 5, Amsterdam Extension 5, KwaMhlushwa Extension 3, Komatipoort Extension 18, Komani, Luhumo, Mashishing Extension 8 and 9, and Tubelihle Extension 7, and indeed Msholozi, just to mention those few. I will not able to leave Vuguzake in Piski Extension B. Upon completion, they will comprise of the much-needed socio-economic amenities such as schools, health facilities, business sites, and recreational facilities, among others. As human settlement, we have since wrote letters to relevant departments so that they begin to ready for themselves. As we complete, they can provide those social amenities that are required. In our quest to consolidate on the rapid release of land, we successfully launched 2 massive integrated human settlement projects at Silobela Extension 5 and Tubelihle. Madam Speaker, in line with the informal settlement upgrading and management strategy, the department is now in the process of mitigating the scourge of triple challenges of poverty, inequality, and unemployment. Last month, on the 25th May 2023, we successfully launched what could be considered a private-public partnership, Triple P initiative, with business people, spearheaded by one of our business partners, Ubaba Uskudla, better known as Umasofa, who is amongst the audience today. May I ask him to stand up? Salaam alaikum. These initiatives aim to revive the township economy and create jobs. Further introduce the business cooperatives to manufacturing of building bricks, paving bricks, roof trusses, aluminum windows and doors in Emalahleni local municipalities and around immediate surrounding areas. I must indicate, Madam Speaker, that the cooperative which shall operate within the ambits of the provincial government social enterprise development model, which was since adopted in 2016, are a sensible conduit to ignite township economy. As upon formation, there will be structured entities to manufacture produce required within the built material. I must indicate, majority of the human settlement will buy bricks from well-established companies. Moreover, we've got too many youth unemployed. Now, this program is to make sure that bricks for human settlement, public works, building schools, gets manufactured by these youth under cooperatives. And all our business people will be directed to buy the bricks from this cooperative henceforth. This is a model that we believe it could assist to stimulate the township, and the program of department is to make sure that we roll out to some of our municipalities, where municipalities can do the paved road, which is more cheaper, more convenient, and job creation in the area. Accusation about unemployment in the country we all see require some other thinking, and we believe that's the road to go. Madam Speaker, a total of 5,590 sites will be delivered throughout the province, not underscoring challenges of municipal bulk infrastructure bottleneck. I must indicate, Madam Speaker, some of our difficulties is the bulk network that municipalities must indeed do. And because of number of reasons, they can't collect revenue, people are not employed, it's become difficult for them to do the bulk. Broken into districts, we will deliver 2,615 in Gersebande, 1,814 in Kangala, and 1,300 in Ehlanzeni through both the IRDP and the USDP program. Department seeks to ensure delivery of quality houses through working closely with the NHRBRC by ensuring all projects are enrolled and inspections and conducted timelessly to the highest norms and standard. I must indicate, Honorable Speaker, no project or no house of RDP will be built before the house gets enrolled with the National Housing Regulation. Madam Speaker, an esteemed guest, as earlier indicated, our budget has seen a decrease compared to the previous financial year, coupled with the policy shift from delivering more houses to the rapid release of land. For the reason we have planned to construct 3,085 government subsidies housing during the 2023-2024 financial year, broken down as follows. Ehlanzeni 1,095, Gersebande 996, Nkangala 1,024. Our target for 2023-24 financial year is to eradicate 229 mud houses at already identified in different villages, as I've mentioned: Bushbuck Ridge, Mkondo, Chief Albert Lutuli, Tembisile, Dr. Jess Moroka, etc. The impact of climate change has not spared our province either. The unprecedented high rainfall, heavy winds, and the hailstorm have caused a huge damage to the house structures and drastically affected the infrastructure. The effect of climate change have affected the province before, and the department is still to finalize the repairs. But the unpredictable weather struck again on the 19th of November 2022, where heavy rains, strong winds, caused severe damages to private and public properties in Hazelview areas, Mahushu, and the city of Mbombela. As we speak, a total of 383 natural disaster damages houses are being repaired. Further, on the 8th of February 2023, the northeastern part of the province experienced persistent heavy rains, which resulted in a catastrophe, flooding mainly in the city of Mbombela and in Nkomazi municipality. Over 2,448 residential houses were affected by these floods provinces-wide, compelling the department to appoint a team of engineers to assess and cost the damages. To date, 10 contractors have been appointed and are currently busy repairing. It should be worth mentioning, Honorable Speaker, that going forward, disaster interventions will be now coordinated by the National Department of Human Settlement. This is aimed to improve and turn around strategy as we move forward. As mentioned in my introduction, Madam Speaker, we find ourselves in most of these challenges due to the short-sighted of the minority rules of the past. If in the past they were planning to make sure that our people, they live well, there's a proper stormwater control, we would not have these difficulties that today we find ourselves in. In their short mind, they never thought that their action will cost a country billions of rand as we are currently involved into. Indeed, the road to a better life remains long. The road to a better life is not smooth. It is very rough. It requires all of us to work together. Be that it may, we continue to be invigorated by our forebearers, Oliver Reginald Tambo, who encourage us that, open quote, the fight for freedom must go on until it is won, until our country is free and happy and peaceful as part of the community of men. We cannot rest, close quote. To date, municipalities have sent a total of 20,056 asbestos-roofed houses cases to the department. We are currently procuring the necessary service providers to commence with asbestos roof and audit and remove all asbestos so that we can have a better roof. This will take us a lot of money, almost $1 billion that will require for us to do this. But we are determined to replace the asbestos because are declared a health hazard. Madam Speaker, during the 2023-24 financial year, the department has allocated an amount of 58 million for the construction of 192 community residential units in different municipalities across the province. Those are Malelani, Nkomazi, in Nkomazi local municipality, Sonneville in the city of Mbombela, Babaton in Mbombela, Reabota in Steve Chwete, Sabi in Tabachweo, and Standerton Extension 80 in Lekwa municipality. A budget of 80 million has been set aside for the construction of 7 social amenities in Tula Mahashi, Pushback Krish, in Tunda, in Nkomazi, Kwakuka, in Emalahleni, Hlalani Mnandi in Steve Chwete, Standerton Extension 8, Grootvlei in Dipaliseng, Thembaletu in Tembisile local municipalities. At the beginning of the year, Minister Mamuluko Kubai, through the National Housing Finance Corporation, rebranded what was known as Finance-Linked Individual Subsidy Program to be First Home Finance. This program seeks to help all qualifying beneficiaries who intend to buy or build their first home or property. The revised program also caters for the beneficiaries who are approved for home loans but intend, in among other options, build their own houses in rural areas where their sites are being serviced. To this end, nearly 7 million has been set aside for the realization of 50 first home financial program in various areas in the province. We'll assist qualifying applicants by providing a once-off down payment to those who have secured mortgage finance to acquire residential property. The department has allocated 3 million towards the implementation and constructions of 20 houses for military veterans' houses. In recent years, this government took a conscious decision to focus on the rapid release of land to allow property ownership and restoration of dignity. Putting that into motion, over 8 million has been budgeted for the land restoration program to register 4,054 title deeds and hand them over to rightful housing beneficiaries. Further, 27 million has been made available for the acquisition of well-located land as one of the department's key priorities. This will see the delivery of government subsidized housing and affordable housing with increased densities in Leandra, in Gersebande, Steve Tshwete local municipalities in Kangala, and here in the city of Mbombela in Ehlanzeni. Budget outlook. Madam Speaker and honorable members, it is known fact that the global economy is on a rocky recovery owing to a number of geopolitical and economic developments. According to the International Monetary Fund on the World Economic Outlook published in April 2023, advanced economies were expected to see a growth slow down from 2.7% in 2022 to 1.3% in 2023. In plausible alternative scenario, with a further financial sector stress, global growth declined to about 2.5% in 2023, with advanced economic growth falling below 1%. The fact that initiation return to targets is unlikely before 2022 in most cases. This has bearing in budget allocation, especially for government institutions. Given the realities and economic outlook, the department has not been spared on budget construction, thus affecting plans to deliver desired outputs. To this end, the construction industry in South Africa is expected to grow by 5.0% to reach 232,263,000 in 2023. Despite the near-term challenge in certain construction sector, medium to long-term growth story in South Africa remains intact. Budget presentation. Having highlighted the global financial challenges and dwindling budgets, especially in government, the overall appropriate department budget has decreased from 1,894 million in 2022-23 to a financial year to 1,648 million in 2023-24 financial year. Madam Speaker and members, it should be noted that within the appropriate budget in the previous year, the department has allocated an additional budget of 300 million by National of Human Settlement because we have done well in terms of our performance. Certainly we'll do performance this year so that we get more from provinces that they can't perform. It is therefore our resolve to continue and up the good performance in order to attract further funding into the province. Thus improve the lives of the people of Mpumalanga and not leaving anyone behind. Madam Speaker, the 2023 budget is broken down into the following. Program 1, Administration, 190,193,000. Program 2, Housing Needs, Research and Planning, 128,786,000. Program 3, Housing Development, 1,313,645,000. Program 4, Housing Asset Management, 15,560,000. Honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to highlight that the allocated budget of 1.6 billion is made out of the following grant allocation. Human Settlement Development Grant, 966,277,000. Informal settlement upgrade partnership grant, 268,758,000. Equitable share operational budget, 395 million and a couple thousand. Expanded public works, EPWP, 2,153,000. During the current financial year 2023-24, within the Equitable, the department has allocated the following budget: bulk infrastructure for Parliamentary Village, 57 million. Investigation on a solar panel solution, 2.6 million. As I conclude, Madam Speaker, honorable members, as the government will continue to push for the provision of adequate housing to eligible and disadvantaged beneficiaries, including water and sanitation, the realization of such basic human rights requires that all hands out to be on deck to realize these rights, while we do not leave anyone behind. Allow me, Madam Speaker, to give summary of our grant and realistic plans for the 23-24 financial year. Department plans and commits to deliver a total of 3,085 fully subsidized housing units, servicing 5,590 sites, delivering 192 CRU and 7 socio-economic facilities, resolve 580 rental disputes, and issue 4,054 title deeds. Madam Speaker, I take this opportunity and thank the Honorable Premier for the support and members of the Executive for all the time giving us support. To the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Umage Shongwe, Kabisile Shongwe, thank you very much, Madam, and the members of the committee, for us to come and account to the Portfolio Committee all the time. To my leadership of the ANC, thank you very much for all the time. Allow me to do my work and give me the support when I'm aware that we must do the work that's expected. I must indeed thank all our business people, Amakosi, for continuously giving us the support and do the work that is expected. And to my family, getting us bongela. And to your Speaker, Realebo, all the time. Thank you very much. Gabon.
Thank you, Honorable Mashilo, for the well-delivered policy and budget speech. The Secretary shall read the 6th order of the day.
Order number 6, consideration of a report of the Portfolio Committee on Human Settlements, Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs on Vote 13, Department of Human Settlements.
I now call upon the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Human Settlements, Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Honorable G.C. Shongwe, to table the report.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise on behalf of the Portfolio Committee to request the High House to accept the report as it's been tabled. Thank you.
I am informed that there is no debate on this report. Now the question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the report as tabled by Honorable Shongwe. Agreed to? As so agreed. The Secretary shall read the 7th order of the day.
Order number 7, policy and budget speech on Vote 12, Department of Social Development.
I now call upon the MEC for Social Development, Honorable L.L. Njalinjali, to deliver the policy and budget speech.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity given to ourselves. Speaker.
Honorable MEC, can you please take your seat, Honorable Nkabela?
I thought you're going to say something about what happened there, because they are not supposed to participate in this sitting.
Honorable Nkabela, thank you very much for reminding the House, according to the rules, members of the public are not supposed to participate, and only members are allowed to participate in the House. Thank you. Then you can proceed, Honorable Njali.
Mona wena. Hey, Mona, mphethe yambulala. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Good afternoon to yourselves and the entire House. Let me acknowledge the Honorable Speaker, Mem Masilela, also the Deputy Speaker, Me Tabete Mufukeng, our Honorable Premier in absentia, Mem Twenetsipane, members of the Executive Council, who are my colleagues, the chairperson of our portfolio committee, Ntate Ngomane, our Honorable Chief Whip, Babe Mlombo, our Chair of Chairs, Ntate Mkachwa, also acknowledge all our executive mayors who are seated in the gallery, also our Miss Mpumalanga, and further let's acknowledge the leaders of the opposition parties present here, the official leader, EFF in absentia, Mr. Sedibe, all political parties represented here in the House, Maroji Waruna, Amakhosi namakhosana neinduna, silochise nabendlu yamakhosi boke, Deputy Chair Ngimbonile ku gallery, silochise naku Provincial Director General Babe Mampuru, silochise ku head ye Department yaka Social Development Babe Saral Mtsweni, silochise naku DDG wakasasa ubaba Themba Matlo ophakathi kwethu endlini, silochise nakuma heads wama departments woke, NDA, all our guests that are invited, nabantu abethu esibabonile abagcwele ku gallery, nama members woke we media akhona, nabantu beMpumalanga sithi lochane. It is with great honor and privilege for me today on the month that we honor those that sacrifice their lives for the freedom and democracy in our life. And those who have sacrificed have seen the majority of the marginalized and the poor enjoying the fruits of freedom. Madam Speaker, it is a well-known fact that we are leading in a very critical time and a very critical department in our lives and the well-being of our people in this province. It is critical for us. Let me thank the Honorable Speaker and the House for allowing us to giving us this opportune time to share our 2022-23 achievements and our 2023-24 program of action. The month of June, with specific reference to June 16, which is also known as the Youth Day, and is greatly celebrated through the month. As part of its activities, it pays tribute to the school pupils who lost their lives during the 16 June 1976 uprising. Despite and in spite of the oppressive regime determination to crush the pupils, close to 10,000 pupils marched peacefully to demonstrate and protest against the government of the day on the directive to use Afrikaans as a medium of instruction in our schools. Madam Speaker, I am certain that honorable members are fully knowledgeable about the history of our youth and the struggles they are facing on a daily basis. However, it will be befitting if I can recognize the role they continue to play by quoting from O.R. Tambo, who said, I quote, open quote, the children of a nation, the children of any nation are its future. a country, movement, a person that does not value its youth, children, does not deserve its future. Close quote. Madam Speaker, lest we not forget and those who perish, our children are a backbone of our Mpumalanga specifically and the country in general that we want. So we are no longer the children on this province, but we are parents of Mpumalanga who must still give birth to children that are going to build a Mpumalanga we want. It is therefore our considered view that as they take first step, we will need to provide guidance because the majority would be unable to cope because we'll be the first-time mothers and children that we want. Flowing from the above narrative, I am certain that honorable members are aware that a scourge of violence against children and numerous attempts to stop it has been done. In 1997, government launched the first Child Protection Week, which is observed every year between 29th of May and the 5th of June. However, this year our Minister, Honorable Lindiwe Zulu, launched the Child Protection Week on the 28th of May in Cape Town with the theme, "Let us all protect children during COVID-19 and beyond." As it could be seen from the theme itself, it gives all of us a responsibility of Ubuntu, where your child is my child. The Child Protection Week was then closed in Mpumalanga, in Mganduzweni, Mbombela municipality here in Ehlanzeni. The province has seen a rise in child killings, abduction of children, and the closing ceremony was attended by school children and families that were directly affected by these horrific crimes. And it was just an embarrassment for ourselves that nationally pointed Mpumalanga because there's a rise in these attacks. Honorable Speaker, as I stand before this House today, a parent from Pinar, both parents were appearing before the court of law. They were arrested yesterday for killing a toddler and burying that toddler on a shallow grave. Was saying, "Sekwanele bakithi, abantu bakithi sebaba izilwane." Following from these above, Honorable Speaker, the concept of Ubuntu, we have lost it. We should be aware that also just last month we were celebrating Africa Day with the theme Africa, Opportunities in Challenging Times, followed by the discussion entitled Invest in Africa for Sustainable Leadership and Development. The discussion around this theme made a clear-cut statement that we need to tap on these opportunities that are presenting themselves as we call on the world to invest in Africa. Some, if not all, you will remember that the Department of Social Development partnered with the Tanzanian government. Gender-based violence against women and children is a 365 days campaign, Madam Speaker. I will be failing in my duties, whether by omission or commission, if I don't mention that our province remains greatly affected by the incidences of gender-based violence that calls for everyone and every voice declaring publicly, enough is enough, sekwanele. Vigorously challenging normalization of violence against women and children, challenge gender stereotypes and roles, challenge condoning of violence against women and children, challenge the sexist joke and remarks about women because people feel it's normal if they do it and it ends up very badly. Madam Speaker, how can we forget the negative impact of COVID-19 it had in our well-being despite our government having lifted COVID-19 restrictions? The effect of COVID-19 pandemic coupled with the budget cuts resulting from suppressed economic environment still pose limitations to our ability to build capacity, recruit suitable workforce that will vigorously deal with all the challenges mentioned above. Despite all these challenges, our government departments remains our aim to continue and discharge our constitutional obligations to care for all vulnerable groups, especially those who need our services to make a living. Madam Speaker, who are always on the move, trying to constantly review internal measures to curb budget spike, fraud, corruption, and significantly, in this regard, there are lessons that our department continue to learn throughout the process of accounting to this house and always continuing to learn how to mitigate the load shedding, especially in our essential service centers, because that is where most of our people utilizes our services. I just hope that it is befitting that at this stage, we also thank our honorable members for continuing guiding us in these areas of operation, because without our portfolio committee, we wouldn't be guided properly. Allow me, Honorable Speaker, dealing with the Victim Empowerment Program. Madam Speaker, amongst our responsibilities is to coordinate and implement the Victim Empowerment Program, which includes, among others, rendering services to the victims of gender-based violence. In order for our programs to bear fruit, we will ensure that we work in collaboration with community-based organizations and other activists whose main objective is to eradicate the scourge of violence. We will also ensure that a supply as many information as possible in order to empower victims of violence to restore their dignity and continue with their normal life, and not giving them a stigma. When the country was overwhelmed with a drastic increase in the number of victims of violence against both women and children, a need arose for the introduction of a clear-cut plan that will produce good results, thereby extremely reducing the number of victims of violence. After all these efforts, in the final analysis, the President approved and endorsed the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, which requires anyone to play their role in fight against the gender-based violence. While other government departments have their share on the pillar on the National Strategic Plan, the Department of Social Development has been assigned to concentrate on Pillar 4, which is response, care, support, and healing. We will not fail to aggressively implement this plan, because our failure to implement it will be by implication that it means we've left our victims vulnerable. In our 2022-23 financial year, we've made a serious commitment that we are going to provide psychosocial support services to 2,245 victims of gender-based violence. Madam Speaker, it's worth noting that the department has exceeded this commitment by 345, making it to the total number of 2,587. And we're not happy that we've exceeded it, because it means there are more people who are suffering from gender-based violence. This number does not make our department to celebrate. That is why we're not happy. Our objectives as a department is to make it 0 victims of violence, so that you have a safer communities where people can be safe. I must indicate that we need to intervene with speed to ensure that we prevent further damage which may cause by stress, anxiety, depression, and honorable members should know that depression remains a silent killer, and you might not even be aware that you are suffering from it, but it is a silent killer. In the past few years, we've seen the emergence of trafficking of children for ulterior motives or for criminal activities. Honorable members, we might have noticed that these activities used to be rife during the festive season, especially when a number of people traveled back to their countries and children were found at the border post in transit for trafficking. In trying to deal with this challenge, we've increased the number of employees who are tasked to work shifts on the busiest border control post. As a department, we are now confronted by trafficking of persons in general, especially girls, who are used as sex slaves under the pretext of better job elsewhere. So our kids must be very vigilant so that they are not victims of such. With that in mind, 2 shelters have been accredited to accommodate victims of human trafficking in line with the Trafficking in Persons Act number 7 of 2013. This will close the gap in the provision of such service, as there was only one shelter for the entire province. So there is additional 2 centers so that we fight this. We will continue to strengthen our partnership with the criminal justice cluster departments and civil society organizations that are rendering restorative justice system program to deal with the scourge of gender-based violence. Madam Speaker and honorable members, I've highlighted a few challenges faced by our youth as they face their future. Due to these challenges, I am certain that honorable members are aware that they are expected to be aware of the 26th June. It is an International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. Annually, this day is commemorated as a Substance Abuse Awareness Day. Age, peer pressure, and the low cost and easy accessible of drugs and alcohol, especially in our country, is increasing the risk factors of abuse among adolescent and young adults. In addition to this, according to the World Drug Report of 2021, the population are at risk mostly by using drugs. Young people between the ages of 15 to 34 is projected to grow in the next decade, in particular in low-income countries, and as South Africa, we are part of that. The average drug dependence in South Africa is staggering at 12, with 50% of South African teens drinking alcohol. Kuna lento abathi ukugezwa kwamaballpen, abantwana bethu bahambe bayophuza, bangabambeki. Uma sekumele bayobhala, abanye babo banethola izingozi, abanye bashonile, because umzuzwana nje ukuthi bahambe bayophuza. Ake sithi siyabazali baseMpumalanga silweni nayo leyo ndaba leyo, because iyathusa ukuthi abantwana bethu baphuza kakhulu. In these efforts to curb substance abuse and support South Africans, especially the youth, the South African Anxiety and Depression Group, in partnership with the National Department of Social Development, have launched South Africa's first WhatsApp chat platform, also known as Kimoja. WhatsApp chat platform, which can be contacted at 087 163 2025. I repeat that number because our kids are on social media, are on WhatsApp. When these things catch up with you, please WhatsApp Kimoja. You'll be guided and you'll be assisted on 087 163 2025. Based on these above, and to curb the scourge of drug abuse, the department is planning to reach 190,000 people through substance abuse prevention programs for financial year 2023-24. It is also a fact that so many people, especially those who are employing either private or public sector, are in one addicted for drugs, causing them to lose their jobs. Therefore, we will be providing inpatient services to 2,200 people affected by substance, and will also be aggressively creating awareness about the dangers of using drugs. Note this needs be taken into consideration on the financial year 2022-23. The department had 358 cases of children which need to be expunged. These are kids with cases. To date, the department was able to provide reports that will enable expungement to be completed at the national level for all these cases. Imagine these kids are young kids, underage, with criminal cases, they're in conflict with law, and now they have a case. If we don't apply for expungement, it means they can't be appointed anywhere, so their life will come to an end. So the department will be rolling out the National Anti-Gangsterism Strategy to deal with bullying, gangsterism among the children and the youth. Because it's true, abantwana bethu bayabhulishana. Even kunama cyberbullying, where they are having these gadgets at home and we're not monitoring them. So we'll be focusing in the hotspot areas as reflected in the 2022-23 provincial crime statistics. I will touch just part of the hotspot in the province, eLukwatini, eMalahleni, Thembisile, and in Balfour. These are the hotspots, but there are other pockets where kids are bullying each other. There's gangsterism. Madam Speaker and honorable members, you will take serious note that our department is also dealing with children in conflict with law, and these children are kept in our centers called Child and Youth Care Centers. Secondly, I am certain, honorable members, that would also note that this admission of these children, it's a legal directed by courts. So our role to work to make sure that we deal with this and finalize their case and make sure that we rehabilitate them so that they don't go back and be in conflict with law. Because if you are underage, you can't go to prison, therefore they are sent to our centers. Let's make sure that we lessen that number so that our kids are fine at home. Despite all these challenges that we face as a department, it gives me a pleasure to report to this August House that there are 300 children and youth, child and youth care workers who have undergone training and have completed their studies, and they've fully implemented community-based prevention program. In addition, in the last financial year, we had planned to reach 17,000 beneficiaries through this program. I must indicate to the House that we were able to reach 22,468 orphan, vulnerable children through this program, and in this current financial year, we are planning to reach to 20,450 beneficiaries through this program. However, and more often than this, besides the limited and financial constraint that we have in the 2022-23 financial year, we were able to conduct a graduation ceremony for 423 child and youth care workers who completed their training, and they were trained through this program, which was funded with the community-based program. Similarly, in the financial year, we had planned to reach 20,450 children, and we have managed to reach 21,999, of which 134 were children with disabilities. In the last financial year, a total number of 97,584 have benefited from the Social Relief of Distress program. I must indicate, Honorable Speaker, that sometimes people criticize us that we're not seen giving this food parcel or the intervention. We do it with dignity. And every South African, every resident of Mpumalanga must understand that we take them through a process privately at home, send our team, do assessment. When they meet the means test, we give the support to the family privately, because we are a government that is caring, that would not want to show off that our government is giving people food, our government is giving school uniform. Hence, we're saying we've reached a number of people. Those who need our services, our offices are at every locality. Hence, we're saying the 97,000 have benefited through this program. On dignity and sanitary towel programs, in the last financial year, a total of 57,946 beneficiaries were supported with sanitary dignity packs, and we want to be upfront here to indicate that we had been having situation, some of the service providers who supplied our schools with these packs were not in compliance with SABS standard approved, which was a serious problem. And we call on all business people, when you are given work by government, you must meet all the requirements. And if you don't, we're going to blacklist you, because this is the money that has been spent. It's government money. We must remain accountable. So our monitoring mechanism was able to pick up this, and we're improving on this situation. We want to make this call to our people that we will never, as a department, compromise our quality of services and standards that we are giving for our communities. Because if you operate, if you are given specifications, you must adhere to it. so that we can see value for money. Don't short-circuit our process and give our people second-hand things and things that are not meeting the required standard. We call on business people to respect our citizens. This financial year, the department is planning to provide sanitary towels to the total of 95,522 beneficiaries, we shall leave no stone unturned in ensuring that this dignity of our girl children is restored, and those service providers who happen to compromise the quality are blacklisted and can no longer do business with government. So we start by invoking the clauses in your contract. If you persist, we blacklist you through Treasury, because at the end, it is our government that is accountable to our people. There are 22,773 children who are receiving foster childcare grant. In 2023, the program seeks to promote the goals and planning and promoting family reunification by connecting the children to the safer and nurturing family relationship intended to last for a lifetime. Under your older persons, Madam Speaker, the program has been a developmental approach to aging, which also seeks to keep older persons in their families and communities for as long as possible. And the main performance areas would be care and support, protect older persons with strong focus on the poor and vulnerable. This remains a need for residential care facilities for frail older persons, despite a relative high cost. In order to provide for the remaining needs in our communities, these services, where these services do not exist, alternative care services and support models will continue to be supported and gradually expanded on. And I must report to this Honorable House that also the issue of Emalahleni Mthimkhulu, it has come to our attention, and we've secured a meeting so that we can rescue that facility for the older people. There remains a need for these residential care facilities for older persons despite its cost. And we know keeping it running, it's very expensive, but as a department, we are committed. In the last financial year, the department was able to reach 1,035 older persons who access the services, residential facilities to a total of 5,396. Older persons accessed through community-based care support, services, of which 1,466 more than the last financial year. So the department has reached 347 older persons through social work services. Also, the department was able to send off a team of 170 older persons to participate in the National Active Aging Program in December 2022, and I must indicate that they performed very well. And Mpumalanga was handed over a torch as a hosting province for the current financial year, and we shall be hosting the other 8 provinces within our shores as Mpumalanga, and that will assist in driving the economic spin-offs within our province. Services to persons with disability, we are presently in the process of signing an MOU with Africa Tikan to train caregivers and parents for children with disability. They have so far renovated one stimulation center in Bombela, that is Sizakele. We have also built a sensory room for children with disability at the center, which will be a stimulation center for these children. They are going to be benefiting from such. There is also another one, Rizababuile, which also provide the same services. We are providing mobile clinic to persons with disability around Mbombela, and their station will be in one of the protective workshops in Mbombela, Tanchi, by the name of Tendele Activity Center. In partnership with Japan International Corporation, JICA, the department was able also to train social services professionals with the Department of Social Development and from funded social welfare organization, caregivers, parents of children with disability on how to deal with this pandemic and also dealing with the situation post-COVID. This led to the initiation of respite care services, which is it's a continuous support of JICA. The aim was to provide support and relief to parents and caregivers of children with disability, working group consisting of parents and other relevant stakeholders that have been established, which is led by parents. Workshops have been conducted to empower for caring for children with disability in preparation for training of these caregivers. I must indicate that the Japan, they are coming here also. This project is piloted in 2 provinces. It's Northern Cape and in Mpumalanga. Next Tuesday, they are here with the Deputy Minister because sometimes we leave these children with the only parents. They can't get off time, they can't go to the mall, they are well stressed and overworked. Hence, we're saying we must provide training and provide the services that they need. A total number of 2,123 persons with disability have in the last financial year accessed services in funded protective workshops. 687 persons with disability who, due to their disabilities and social situation, were provided with care, protection, support, stimulation, skills development, rehabilitation in these residential facilities. And 1,641 adult and children receive care, support, protection from the stimulation center. On HIV and AIDS, Madam Speaker, the burden of these is particularly your HIV and AIDS continues to affect the ability of families, persons with disability, older persons, and the department is committed itself for raising awareness on social, behavioral, and structural drivers of HIV by integrating its services with other sector departments like your Department of Health and private sector and our NPOs. Psychosocial support services are implemented to ensure that psychosocial well-being individuals and families made vulnerable by HIV and AIDS, they receive the necessary support. In addition, community conversations and facilitated through dialogues aim to mobilize community members in high-burden areas, involve stakeholders to collaborate activities that addresses the socio-economic imperatives to achieve long-term and sustainable outcome. The department will continue to train social and behavioral change implementation agents, intensifying the efforts to address your social and structural factors on the increase of new HIV infections. A total number of 35,444 beneficiaries were reached through these social behavioral change programs. On sustainable livelihood and poverty alleviation, the department will continue to coordinate and implement the variety of sustainable livelihoods, poverty alleviation programs towards fight against poverty, unemployment, and food insecurity. The latest evidence from Stats SA data shows that about 33.8% of Mpumalanga population is food insecure. A significant number of households in the province are experiencing food insecure. According to the Poverty Index, Dr. J.S. Moroka local municipality have the highest rate of food insecure amongst local municipalities, followed by Chief Albert Lutuli, Mkondo, Nkomazi, and Tembisile. The intervention program services will include, among others, food for all, DSD feeding programs like your food parcels, your soup kitchens, your drop-in centers, social cooperatives, income generation program, community education and awareness, providing support to the vulnerable groups, promoting local food production, and consumption healthy food. Madam Speaker, this program is implemented in collaboration with various departments like your agriculture and other stakeholders, both public and private domain, as well as the results of the draft strategy in Mpumalanga on food, nutrition and security plan has been developed to fight the scourge of poverty and food insecurity. The essence of this program is to empower individuals, households, communities to pursue different livelihood strategies by building on material, social, tangible and intangible assets which people have within various communities and households. Livelihood diversification thus seek to provide holistic and integrated mechanism through which people can improve livelihoods. It is envisaged that programs will facilitate, coordinate, support various programs, interventions, livelihood for individuals. Household communities, therefore, Madam Speaker, the department has developed this strategy on linking beneficiaries, grant beneficiaries to sustainable livelihood and economic opportunities, because we cannot continuously give grants and not give them something that is sustainable. The strategy has been approved by Cabinet, Madam Speaker, as part of our endeavor to fight poverty, lack of work opportunities and unemployment in the province. The department will create job opportunities targeting to a total number of 1,473 individuals who will participate in EPWP programs. Also, Madam Speaker, we've got a sizable number of individuals participating in this program, bringing food on the table for the most destitute families while improving their socio-economic status respective in their household. To this end, Madam Speaker, the department will thrive hard to make sure that 560 number of people benefiting from this poverty reduction initiative and this sustainable livelihood program to enhance and improve socio-economic. This entails the provision of business machines and equipments, food production implements and equipment, the variety of tools, materials and equipment, which is targeting at individuals and households that can always enhance and strengthen their livelihoods. Sikhule kutshalwa izingadi emakhaya singathengi njalo njalo. So siyabanika lamathuluzi, honorable members, so that also as assist. I must indicate, Madam Speaker, that this current financial year, 11 community nutrition and development centers, which is our CNDCs in the province, will be supported to ensure that most vulnerable and poverty-stricken individuals are food secured. To this end, the departments plan to reach and feed more than 3,000 poor, vulnerable, food insecure individuals. Unabantu abahlala la emigwaqweni bayazi ukuthi uma ingena kuma CNDC centers wethu uyakuthola ukudla okufudumele okuphekiwe. In terms of institutional capacity building and support for our NPOs, Madam Speaker, the strategic vision of this institutional capacity building program is to grow a dynamic, sustainable, healthy, effective NPO sector. The well-being of our NPO sector is not the concern of the department alone, but also the collaboration with key partners, which include, amongst others, SARS, Department of Labor, Home Affairs, the other sector departments, National Lotteries Commission, municipalities, and private sector. The department will integrate on key interventions of the program to be delivered through the provisioning of information monitoring and capacity building of our NPO, which will have a functional help desk that support them. Madam Speaker, the department has partnered with NPOs to enhance access to social welfare services throughout the province. The department has registered 19,363 NPOs, and with Payne Heart, only 6,969 are fully compliant, and 12,349 are non-compliant. And that is a problem. Because when we don't transfer money to them to say, put your house in order, I know it's a public outcry. This morning, I was sent a voice note by one of the pastors in Makazen to say, I haven't received my money. And when we check, there are issues pending. So we call on our NPOs also to comply because this is a public purse that we are funding. Also, there are key challenges and developmental areas in our NPOs, which in terms of the NPO Act and other legislative frameworks include, amongst other, your tax, labor, immigration laws, and monitoring of these and planning and managing their operations, because some might also receive money from other countries that fund your terrorists. So hence it is key so that we understand what are those monies. And these challenges hamper the department efforts in delivering predictable and sustainable network of contracted social welfare services to reduce service delivery partners. Overall, the department since February, we have embarked on NPO engagement outreach, which commenced in Gangala, then the following district was Gert. We are now finalizing it. We're going to be meeting with Ehlanzeni so that these engagements give these NPO and board members an opportunity to raise their frustration. And also these outreach, they assist them in terms of giving capacity and their ability to account accurately, making sure that we account for every cent. These capacity enhancement support will specifically focus on registration support services, NPO governance and functionality, support to NPOs to comply with the NPO Act and other relevant legislative framework, coaching and mentoring this support. Madam Speaker, the department has thus, in the current financial year, planned to empower, capacitate 3,000 NPOs with a total of 4,000 monitored for compliance in terms of our act. In terms of the women and development, honorable members, the department will continue to create environment for women to develop constructive, affirmative, and sustainable relationship while concurrently providing opportunities for them to build competencies and need skills to engage as partners in their own development and their communities. The skills intervention services will be implemented through our programs in terms of skills program and socio-economic initiatives. The department shall prioritize the strengthening and capabilities in terms of our indigenous civil society and training advocacy on empowerment program. Madam Speaker, women specifically in rural areas remain the most affected sector of our society in relation of the unemployment. I must indicate, Madam Speaker, that the department has planned to fund 4 women NPO to reach out to 4,000 women participating in women empowerment program. On youth development, Madam Speaker, the youth of our province has grown, unemployment has risen, poverty has walked through the doors of every community. We need to address this and urgently and deal with it so that we deal with it and the amount of drugs that are splashed and our youth are accessing. The primary focus for this program is designed on intervention to promote social inclusion, which impact on social challenges underpin our youth in the province. On youth development programs to access this basket of services like your skills development, education, awareness, and related other related to core competences, career guidance, job preparation, reduction of risky behavior, social crime, and substance abuse and malnutrition. Madam Speaker, in need, the future leaders of our country and our province are under siege. We cannot continue to fold our arms. It is behave as if it's business as usual. More resources are needed to prevent the explosive situation. In terms of our Youth Development Center programs, working with NYDA, Madam Speaker, we offer opportunities to youth in post-matric, implement life skills program, also targeting out of youth school, rural areas and farms, informal settlement, also increase capacity on organization to render youth services, render developmental services programs, link youth to economic opportunities, enhance NPOs delivering youth services. 90 youth development centers through the province have been throughout the province and further conduct a total number of 100 life skills workshop, which aims reaching 1,000 youth participants in mobilizing programs. Madam Speaker, the DSD plan to establish the prototype DSD youth development centers, Katanchi, Msogwabo communities in Bombela, and also making sure that these centers that is anticipated to be completed, which has taken more than, I'm galloping, Honorable Speaker, it's taken longer than it's expected, but it is a well-known fact that we're able to achieve all these goals, and we need both human and financial resources with a minimum budget that we'll have to recruit both social workers, community development practitioners, those whose task would be to work very closely with our communities. And it's also worth mentioning that it is a drop in the ocean, but the department is really making some strive. In terms of the budget allocation, Madam Speaker, let me table this before this August House that the total allocation received for the Department of Social Development is outlined here, will indeed assist our communities, and we shall at all costs endeavor to minimize costs on doing business and make sure that the lives of our people are improved. Program 1 on administration, 406,214,000 is allocated. On program 2, which is social welfare services, 364,580,100 allocated. On program 3, which deals with your children and families, 486,977,000 has been allocated. On program 4, which is your restorative services, 248,763,000 has been allocated. On program 5, which deals with your development and research, 169,773,000 has been allocated. Our total budget as a department, it's 1,676,380,000. In conclusion, Madam Speaker and honorable members, I will be failing if I don't recognize my party that has deployed me to serve our people of Mpumalanga and all the people of Mpumalanga who have entrusted us with their vote, and all political parties present in the House that has also given us support through our portfolio committee. And I must indicate, Honorable Speaker, that we have an obligation to serve the people of this province. We need all hands on deck, both appointed officials and deployed members, in order to advance the gains of our sector, because we always been considered and viewed that we don't want to work as a team. So, Madam Speaker, we really want to appreciate the opportunity that is given to us. And Madam Speaker, it will be remiss of me if I will fail to end my presentation with the significant words of the erstwhile son of the soil and educator, one of our president of the African National Congress, Chief Albert Luthuli, where he said, I quote, "The task is not finished. South Africa is not yet home for all her sons and daughters. Such a home we wish to ensure. This remains before us, building a new land." Thus, Chief Albert Luthuli saw this land as a home for all. With this, we are presenting this budget before this honorable House. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Nchalinchali, for the well-delivered policy and budget speech. The Secretary shall read the 8th order of the day.
Order number 8, consideration of a report of the Portfolio Committee on Health, and Social Development on Vote 12, Department of Social Development.
I now call upon the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Health and Social Development, Honorable P.S. Ngomane, to table the report.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise on behalf of the Portfolio Committee that this House accept the report as tabled by the MEC. Thank you.
I am informed that there is no debate on this report. Now the question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the report as tabled by Honorable Ngomane. Agreed to? So agreed. The Secretary shall read the 9th order of the day.
Order number 9, Policy and Budget Speech on Vote 7, Department of Education.
I now call upon the MEC for Education, Honorable B.A. Majuba, to deliver the policy and budget speech.
Ya kungcono namadoda mawebongwa. No, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Mama Makosazana Masilela, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Mama Janet Tabete Mufukeng, Honorable Premier Srifilem Tswenitsipane absentia, Chief Whip, Honorable Fidel Mlombo, Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Education, Sports and Recreation, Mr. Gideon Mashego, honorable members of the executive and honorable members of the provincial legislature, Chairperson of the Departmental Risk Management Committee, Ms. Jane Masite, all trade unions organizing in the sector, and all stakeholders in the Department of Education. Distinguished guests, representatives from the media, members of the community in the gallery, and a special greeting to all our citizens who are listening from various radio stations and social media platforms. Sanbonan. Madam Speaker, the transformation of our education system to meet the demands of the 21st century in line with the dispensation of free quality education, transfer of skills, knowledge and values remain paramount. Our main preoccupation and focal point, we really are moving with the necessary impetus that puts our education delivery on a comparative success pedestal and comparable with the best in the world. According to UNESCO, South Africa is rated the 4th best country in Africa in educational development with a 58.5 percentage points and with 94% literacy rate after the Seychelles, Tunisia, and Mauritius. This confirmation is informed largely by the investment that is being made by the current democratic dispensation, which shares the view that education is the best and so far the only vehicle at our disposal to fight poverty, marginalization, and inequality. The legendary writer Aikwe Ama once said, open quote, "Alone I am nothing. I have nothing. We have power, but we will never see it work unless we come together to make it work," close quote. The department cannot achieve maximum scores as a standalone. We, in our nature, always rely on collectivity and partnership to execute programs and projects to improve the delivery of learning and teaching in our communities. We therefore would like to extend our sincere appreciation to everyone who rallied side by side with the department for the progress we have achieved thus far. We continue to sound a call to all and sundry to continue to support all efforts of improving the delivery of teaching and learning in the province. It is for that reason that the department has intensified all endeavors to make education a societal phenomenon through the Ranza Xikolo Xa Wena campaign. Through this campaign, the department intends to mobilize stakeholders to play a meaningful role to protect schools, make them habitable for learning and teaching, and free them from any form of social ills. We are truly leaving no one behind in our quest to make education more enterprising and beneficial to all learners within the place of the rising sun. When it comes to early childhood development, Madam Speaker, from the 1st of April 2022, we assumed an added responsibility of the Early Child Development Education Program. This was a great achievement in keeping to the proclamation that was made by the President of the Republic of South Africa, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa. We are putting this challenge to everyone who share our view that early childhood development is investing in a generation. Thank you, Baba. That would lead with knowledge. To this end, we have been crisscrossing the province, visiting early childhood development centers to take stock of the gains that are being recorded, challenges, and to address the impediments. I must say that the passion and visionary leadership displayed by the Early Childhood Development Center managers and their respective staff is really fascinating and encouraging. In the gallery, there is Mrs. Celia Nkosi from Gwenya Circuit in Bombela. She is a center manager of Sikhulile Early Childhood Development Center, who prides herself with almost 30 years at the helm of that center, which has produced a number of high-profile individuals, which includes Dr. Thulani Ngwenya, who is the current Chief Medical Officer of our national football team, Bafana Bafana. I request that this august house salutes her. It is for this reason that the department is prioritizing and accelerating the training of early childhood development practitioners in NQF Level 4 and 261 ECD practitioners in NQF Level 6. The department is further increasing the number of fully registered early childhood development centers to 1,463 and will refurbish 29 ECD centers, construct 1 new ECD center, and complete the construction of 36 ECD Grade R specialized classrooms in this financial year. As I was engaging with some ECD center managers, we agreed that the department needs to be more efficient in processing subsidies to the centers and in communicating with them. To support the early childhood development programs and to benefit children within this sector, for this financial year, the department has budgeted a sum of 885 million. Read for meaning. Madam Speaker, not only are we concerned that research outcomes suggest that the majority of our 10-year-olds, that is grade 4 learners, are unable to read for meaning, but we are doing something about it. To address this, the department is implementing a baseline assessment of learners' reading levels in 880 primary schools. 75% of foundation phase and intermediate phase teachers will in this financial year be trained on primary schools reading improvement project and English first additional language program. 23 subject advisors, school departmental heads and foundation phase teachers in 320 primary schools will be trained on early grade reading. These efforts will ensure that 84% of learners in grade 3 within the province achieve the required level of 50% and above in the national assessment in literacy and numeracy. My system is a young supermarsh. I'll let it back up. Say a star commerce. Last time ngihlushwa iphepha namuhla ngihlushwa isystem. Oh, say right. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's good that nikhona la niyasiza. To strengthen the rate for understanding, the department will implement the Read to Lead campaign in 75% of the primary schools and will mobilize parents to support reading at home. Our target is to enable the majority of grade 4 learners to read with understanding through building the capacity of foundation phase and intermediate phase subject advisors, departmental heads, and coaches on early identification of barriers to reading in English first language and African languages using face-to-face and virtual modalities. Learners will also be supported through reading camps and school competition programs, while 75% of schools will have access to lesson plans in all African languages in print and digital format. Professional teacher development will also be provided for teaching reading, while provision of foundation phase readers to all primary schools will be dispensed. A total of 1,330 reading champions are being deployed to schools to promote and support the reading agenda. The department, together with the National Education Collaboration Trust, will launch the MEC Reading Club in Lekwa local municipality on 15 June 2023. This intends to send a clarion call for all citizens of Mpumalanga to embrace reading. The department has allocated 10 million towards the realization of the above-mentioned goal. The department will further ensure that there is a textbooks for every learner in all our schools. We do this acknowledging the fact that the department has an obligation in this regard. Equally, the department will ensure a suitable pack for the 2024 learning and teaching support material, and that it will be distributed to schools by the end of November 2023. To achieve this, the department has set aside 310 million. Improve learner performance. Madam Speaker, the greatest visible indicator for self-sustaining and competent schools is nothing else but improved learner performance. The department managed to overcome the devastating effects of COVID-19 by improving the 2022 examination results, both qualitatively and quantitatively, and in almost all grades. As we improve the results, we intend to reduce the number of schools which will perform below 70% pass rate. To achieve this, the department will conduct mandatory winter class 2023. This intervention is for schools that performed below the provincial subjects. 8% pass rate obtained in 2020 of the number of learners who pass mathematics, physical science and technical subjects, as well as learners who will meet the requirements to further their studies in institutions of higher learning. We say this inspired by the achievement of the 2022 overall best learner, Batobile Nkambule from Highveld Secondary School, who against all odds managed to be the overall best in the province and overall best in the country within the category of Quintile 1 schools. Her mother was supposed to be here, but because of some challenges, she couldn't make it. The department provides support to learners through extra academic tuition, mentoring, blended learning support through the use of ICT, as well as the writing of provincial common assessments in mathematics and languages. This will assist in preparing learners and setting them up for better performance. To enable this attainment, the department has allocated 115 million for this financial year. Digital school connectivity. Madam Speaker, in bringing the digital divide, while also delivering on the promise of rolling out the fourth industrial revolution mandate, Honorable Premier Refilwe Mtsweni-Tsipane led from the front by conceptualizing and rolling out the Ubuhlebuzile e-learning project. The Ubuhlebuzile e-learning project coincided with the distribution of 63,000 tablets for grade 12 learners and 6,700 laptops for teachers. These tablets are loaded with learner support material such as textbooks, previous question papers, and connectivity data to enable easy communication between learners and teachers. Andile Twala, the 2022 president of the Representative Council of Learners at Ubuhlebuzile Secondary School in Mkhondo, was the first grade 12 learner to receive tablet last year. He managed to obtain 5 distinctions through that support and is now studying for his Bachelor of Administration Management at the University of Pretoria. The department has already distributed about 45,000 tablets to the class of 2023. There are 10,000 tablets which were badly damaged last year and are being fixed to be distributed to those learners who are yet to receive them. We anticipate that the distribution will be complete before the end of June 2023. We have learned that it will be imperative going forward that these tablets are distributed to all learners before the end of February each year to enable learners to take advantage of their resourcefulness. This year, the department is extending Obuhlebuzile e-learning program by piloting the full-scale rollout of Obuhlebuzile e-learning project in 8 schools, 2 from each district. All learners from these 8 schools from grade 8 to 12 will receive tablets which are equally loaded with education material. That is going to mean those schools will be piloted to be paperless. We are piloting paperless education in those schools. These tablets are part of the 7,500 donated to the department by Statistics South Africa. We are truly grateful for the support which we received from Stats SA. It is the view of the department that having such technological gadgets at the hands of our learners does not only uplift their scholastic outcomes, but prepare them for the digital world in tertiary institutions and beyond. These tablets are found to be relevant for this time as mobile tools of teaching and learning that allows learners to be self-paced and learning at their own time, space, and comfort. The department will continue with the connectivity of schools and maintenance of existing infrastructure to introduce digital skills curriculum from grades R to 6, as well as coding and robotics curriculum within the subject technology in grade 7 to 9. 300 teachers from pilot schools are being trained on robotics and coding and technology-driven learning and teaching strategy in line with the 4th Industrial Revolution. The department provided resources for the coding and robotics pilot project to 110 secondary schools. In partnership with the Department of Communication and Digital Technologies, the department will connect 150 schools as part of the digital connectivity of schools. The department is also procuring 1,700 laptops for principals and circuit managers with 20 gigabytes of monthly data as part of Obuhlebuzile e-learning. In the 2023-24 financial year, 150 million is being used to implement the provincial Obuhlebuzile e-learning rollout and support, teacher development and support. Madam Speaker, the battalion of the 33,000 teachers remains the fundamental pillar for education delivery in the province. Teachers are the cornerstone for the existence of the department, for without them, as well as their commitment and sacrifice, learning and teaching will be non-existent. The department is very much grateful for the outstanding work done by teachers, and for that we salute them. We further acknowledge and salute Mr. Mandla Delton Dlamini from Mohlabela District, who was confirmed as the overall best teacher in the country in the category Excellence in Technology Enhanced Teaching and Learning at the occasion of the National Teaching Awards, which were hosted by the Minister for Basic Education last year. He has graced this occasion, and I humbly request that we recognize him for flying the flag of the province high. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate your hard work. To ensure that teachers within the province remain on the success pedestal, the department continues to provide them with ongoing support and training, focusing on pedagogical practice in the classroom and theories of learning, mentoring, blended learning support through the use of ICT, and provide schools with supplementary material. For this program, the department has budgeted 10 million. National School Nutrition Program and other pro-poor policies. Madam Speaker, the implementation of the social security programs, such as the National School Nutrition Program, is reaching out to 933,255 learners in 1,550 schools for 197 feeding days within the province. Currently, the contracts with service providers is on a month-to-month basis. However, the process to appoint new service providers is at an advanced stage. These pro-poor programs seek to foster redress of the past and present inequalities with an intent to keep learners in school while cushioning them from negative forces that may attempt or lead to them dropping out. To this effect, the department is piloting the introduction of breakfast with chicken livers as a newly introduced source of protein in all schools within 5 seconds. These programs also include the provision of scholar transport, which currently benefits 69,725 learners in the province. The department has allocated 886 million for this program. Madam Speaker, we truly appreciate the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative as another progressive initiative and well-thought measure to impact positively in addressing youth unemployment and providing relief in some and change to many households in the province. We are grateful to President Cyril Ramaphosa for initiating this great initiative that has seen 22,000 young men and women supporting schools within the province while getting a stipend to put food on the table. This initiative helps to instill a sense of pride to the families and giving them some honor by earning their money while effecting change in society as part of the education staff teaches our children. Education infrastructure projects. Madam Speaker, the delivery of quality learning and teaching rests on the quality provision, conducive and safe classroom environment. With your support, we have scored some notable successes, which inter alia include the official handing over of completed schools, eradicating toilets, pit latrine toilets, providing mobile classrooms as a relief in some cases, and renovating a number of our schools. Oh, is that cool? Okay. I can proceed. Okay. I thought darkness will impair hearing. The department has completed 969 projects in the last 5 years.